At least it's not as cold today as it has been in previous days. That's nice. That's a good thing at the very least. Oh, let's get some people in here, though, and we can start talking about the topics at hand. Alex Pretti'S death was ruled a homicide. India is going to be buying Venezuelan oil. And what was the thing that I put in the title first? What was it? Oh, yeah, the Clintons agreed to testify in Congress. Just finished watching one battle or another. You should watch it. Okay, well, I'll check it out. I've got no problem with checking something interesting out. I could do that. Hi, Margot. And hi, Bree. I guess I've got to plug my gimbal up. It's a pro-revolution, anti-ICE movie? Neat. That sounds good. It sounds interesting for sure. What's up, Casey? Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Hit that like button as you're rolling in. You know the drill. I cannot believe we're actually going to get to hear the Clintons testify to Congress in regards to all of this. The really interesting part about that is that they're going to have to lie. They're going to have to protect aspects of the American power structure. So they're going to have to start just flatly making things up or plainly lying to the American people, because there's no way for them to preserve the power structure that they are a part of and benefit off of without massive amounts of lies. We just know how much is in those Epstein files and how impossible it is for them to know as little as they're going to claim to know. A night stream I finally didn't ignore. Aw, Casey. What a shithead. Seeing my notifications and choosing not to click. Remember JF Garapy? He was a side character from DP Days. He's a Nazi streamer now who's in the Epstein files. Yeah, dude, I know. I have been following JF Garapy ever since his fall from grace. I've been keeping up on what he does and paying attention to the moves of his life and everything like that. And it is fucking crazy. It is wild. He has, yes, turned out to be in the Epstein files. Jeffrey Epstein, I think Jeffrey Epstein himself actually was funding he gave Garapy $25,000 at one point as a donation or something to uplift the channel or whatever. JF Garapy, if you don't know, is a white supremacist, crazy Canadian French guy that thinks that everyone who's not a French Canadian is a piece of shit, basically. He's like a horrible guy. I don't know why you would support him, especially if you're Jewish. But another thing we've learned about the Epstein files, since more of them has been released, is that Jeffrey Epstein was not just your normal Jewish person. Jeffrey Epstein was a Jewish supremacist. So he was not the liberal-leaning kind of party guy of no particular political bent that some people have been led to believe that he was, because he would donate to Democratic causes every so often. As it turns out, he was actually about as far to the fucking right as you could get, and saw projects like the Democratic Party as useful, controlled opposition. And it was after a conversation with Jeffrey Epstein that the person who runs 4chan decided to bring back the poll boards. So Jeffrey Epstein and co-conspirators of his not only conspired to mess around with kids and to structure that abuse and to provide that abuse for other people. But he may also have well created the current political discourse that we all occupy and have to deal with the repercussions of. Didn't JF kill his wife or something? Allegedly, possibly, maybe. There's been some accusations, but no body has ever been found. According to official records, his wife is still a missing person. So it's kind of libelous, for me at least. You can say he killed his wife. I can't. Is it pretty? Yeah, he probably did, but I can't say that. I don't know. There's no evidence to confirm 100% that he did. He has not been adjudicated of the crime by a jury of his peers. That being said, I hesitate to imagine any more likely candidates for who did it. Yeah, so he killed his wife in Roblox. Exactly. Precisely. Yes. Who's Epstein? Go back under the rock you've been living in for the last 5 years. It's okay. If you figured out, life so far, this long, this many months on without knowing, you don't need to know now. I love how many MAGAs are acting like we're not getting this information from the files that are totally available to them to read. The same files, by the way, that they demanded get released. The same files that we've all been demanding get released for years and years and years. Now that they're actually getting released, suddenly you can't trust it. Now that they're actually getting released and they implicate high-level Republican power brokers, now nobody wants to touch it with a 10-foot pole. This is another reason why I say be cautious about the prospect of the Epstein files actually making a giant change to the way American politics work. Because in order for that to happen, a lot of people are going to have to be held to account. Jesus loves you. Well, thanks, holy poems. You just beat Red Dirty. Cool. That. Awesome. Great. We are talking about the Epstein files, and specifically the fact that Bill and Hillary Clinton have been called to testify in front of Congress, and we are about to see a whole pack of lies out of their mouths, because they're going to have to lie in order to preserve the status quo. They're going to have to lie to preserve the system as it exists. And there's nothing a liberal wants more than preserving the existing system for as long as possible. That's why liberals are so opposed to Donald Trump. It's got nothing to do with them actually being opposed substantively to his personality or anything like that. It's because he represents a closer march into this fascist authoritarian road, which is a change from the status quo. But that's the same reason why liberals also oppose people like me on the hard left, because we represent a step away from that fascist direction. And they don't want to do that. There are people in this country, mainly the Democrats, who literally just want to keep us on the same road. And if we do happen to change direction a little bit, it's going to be at the behest of the Republicans. We need to change that paradigm. Leftists need to start taking power in America. Centrists that want progressive things or policies that you would have in common with the left. We all need to start uniting around common cause. Love my breaking news from a bookish trans gal. Aww, that's sweet. That is a really kind thing to say. I like being everybody's daily news update for their headlines and general opinion work. This is just horrible. We'll go watch something else. What? Do I have you handcuffed to the radiator or something? Do you have an SOS message you'd like to share with chat? For one to be exposed would expose everyone. Exactly, JC. That's the problem I see with it as well. If Bill and Hillary Clinton get up there and start revealing big secrets that actually turn out to be true, if they have testimony that proves to be criminally indicative, what's going to happen? Once you prosecute one, you've established the precedent to prosecute all the rest. What are we going to do? Completely dismantle our entire political framework? Something tells me we're probably not. By the way, if you're enjoying the stream so far, please hit that like button. It really does help, and I really do appreciate it. It's the best and most cost-free way to help this channel without doing very much. If you're legal to work and understand the concept of money shouldn't do what now? What are you going on about? They will protect those with more power than them, and so on forth. They will die on their hill defending each other. Exactly. Well, that's because billionaires actually have a sense of class interest. Nobody, or at least very few people in the lower classes have as much and as profound a class awareness as people at the very top. People at the very top, they all know that they're at the very top. People at the upper 1%, they all know that they make up that upper 1%, and they will do anything they have to preserve the integrity of that. You start showing up now. Yeah, advertise your album, Casey. Don't spam about it, but you can advertise it a little bit. Billionaires manage power. We are their power. Yep, 100%. We are. Are you a Marxist-Leninist? No, I'm an anarchist. I'm waiting for an answer. Bought this. All right, Andy, what is your question? By the way, if you'd like to make sure a comment or question gets read or answered, you have to send it through Super Chat. I'm not going to scroll up for every Tom, Dick, and Harry that posts something they think is interesting in the chat. I know, it might genuinely be interesting, but I just can't do it. I literally do not have the time to sit and scroll up. That's not because my time is particularly precious. It's just because the chat pops off in here pretty quickly. Things are going by at a pretty good clip. And if you want to make sure that I see something, the only way to do that is to send it in a Cash App note, which you can do down below. By the way, I have a link tree now and some social media stuff that you should go follow. Go look in the description right now and find that stuff. You can do that by clicking at the name at the top of the stream. It will show you my description and you'll be able to see some of that stuff. Can't wait till people like you get their facts straight. You're telling me that I don't have my facts straight and you're not even using the correct form of there and there. I don't know why you would think I would take you seriously for even a moment. Of course someone like her has something to say. Of course I do. What, do you think I'm going to be silent because it makes someone uncomfortable? No. Nobody wants to Cash App you? You might be surprised. We'll see. If you were a true anarchist, you wouldn't be asking people for money. What's that based on, Maverick? Can you cite the theory that that's based on? I would just appreciate a citation there if you're going to run around saying things that are very bold and convinced, you know? If you're, like, really convicted of something, I would like you to demonstrate the source. No, you're going to be loud in your room, safe from the world you hate on. I am out in the world all the time, and I don't really feel like I've spent a profound amount of time in this stream hating on the world. So what are you getting your information from? What exactly are you so upset about? I feel like you might be projecting a little bit, actually. Are you a lesbian? I don't self-identify as a lesbian, but I'm attracted to women, and I'm a trans woman, so I guess it depends on your definition. I don't self-apply the label, though. Pronouns Big Mac. I don't eat the Big Mac anymore, my friend. They've fucked it up. McDonald's has ruined the Big Mac. It is now a giant morass of bread and lettuce. No longer is it a delicious 3-tiered burger with meat and cheese and a little bit of Thousand Island dressing. It's not that anymore. Now it is a messy, disgusting lump of mostly stale bread and the most anemic lettuce I've ever eaten in my life. So if I'm gonna go to McDonald's and get me something to eat, it's gonna be a double quarter pounder with cheese, or it's gonna be a single quarter pounder with cheese, or it's gonna be a McNuggets meal of some kind. Don't besmirch me by calling me a Big Mac fan. Why do you cut your hair? Because I like it to be like pretty like that. I don't know. You know, I know they're not the most even bangs in the world, but whatever. I feel better having these bangs in my ponytail than I do having, like, any other haircut I've ever had in my life, so. Alex Pretty was executed. Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. The coroner's report has come out, and it has been officially found by the medical examiner that his death, his cause of death, was a homicide. What about that, MAGA? What do you have to say to that? So we now have medical officials from within Minneapolis, from within Minnesota itself, saying this was a murder. just like objectively, according to the scientific facts of the track of the bullets through the body, the way that they were delivered into the body, the testimony of the witnesses in the video and everything, all of that combined, and they spit out an answer of, well, he was killed. What answer do you possibly have for this now, except for, you know what, we've gone too far, we need to withdraw ICE from America's cities? That is the only valid answer. But go ahead and hit me up with it. People used to call it suicide by cop. So it's suicide by cop to film someone with a cell phone now? What exactly, what kind of mental gymnastics do you have to do to finagle yourself into a position like that? I'm just curious. ICE is needed. Don't just say it, demonstrate it. Why do you all have the same fringes? I don't know. Why do you all have the same comments to ask me in the chat? Nobody cares? Apparently enough people care to sit in here and listen to it. What kind of mental gymnastics do you have to do to convince yourself that you're a woman? Oh, that's simple. I just have known that I'm a woman since I was a little kid, and ever since then I've been working to present myself as more accurately true to that identity. Very simple. If you'd like to read more about the scientific backing of it, look up Mayo Clinic Transgenderism. They have a really good write-up on it that every page of it has like 7 sources that will point you towards the scientific backing for everything that I believe when it comes to transgender people. Not only that, but you can look at Johns Hopkins. You can look at the American Medical Association. You can look at various Dutch, German, Finnish, Swedish, broadly European doctors and medical agencies. It is not hard to find scientific backing for transgender people. You guys are just uncomfortable with it because it calls into question everything about your life. If a trans woman like me exists, then that means you didn't have to work on cars your whole life. You didn't have to bake pretty breads your whole life. You didn't have to pretend that you like country music your whole life. You didn't have to pretend that you like wearing dresses your whole life. Whatever fucking gender identity it is that you have felt entrapped by your entire life, you see a person like me and you know instantly, whether you admit it to yourself consciously or not, that all of that was for naught, that it was all unnecessary, that ultimately all of it could have been done away with, and you could have lived authentically had you been willing to make that fundamental leap that I made. That is the most common driver for uncomfortability regarding trans people, in my opinion. Yeah, leaving out they had a loaded gun on him. We have the Second Amendment here in America. I don't care. He wasn't reaching for it. And by the time he was shot, he had had his gun removed off of him. So next. Trans people are strong. Thank you, surfing. We try to be. How many McDoubles can you eat in 1 minute? A half of McDouble. You people need to retake elementary school grammar? Yes, desperately, desperately, desperately. If you've been enjoying the stream, by the way, so far, please consider sending a super chat, hitting up my Cash App, which you can find down below, or even just liking the stream. I would love to see us get to 40 likes tonight if we can do that, so please hit that like button up. It sends the stream out to more people, which is awesome, but it also just makes me feel like better about myself, and that's great. So hit it. Do it. It's fine. Double tap your screen, hit the button, do what you got to. Matt, I'm going to pin that comment so that people can see it. Yeah. If you donate through Cash App, YouTube doesn't take a cut, and I can use it instantly, so that's nice. I feel bad. Surfing no all caps. I appreciate the live, but I had to time you out for 5 minutes, to be fair. Yeah. I mean, you have to not be so harsh about the caps and the span. Like, not you, Autumn. I'm talking about the people in chat. You guys have got to chill on the fucking all caps and the spamming bullshit. I am not going to read your question simply because you send it in here a dozen times. If you really want me to read your question, you must send it in a note or a super chat. Those are the only 2 options you have for getting it read 100%. Otherwise, it's luck of the draw. I may read your comment, I may not. If you need digital thumbs up or heart hazards to feel good, there is something wrong. I don't necessarily need them to feel good, but they do make me feel good. The same way that beating your new high score in a game makes you feel good. The same way that beating a difficult boss in a video game would make you feel good. The same way that putting together a birdhouse would make someone feel good. I don't know. I think it's pretty normal to feel good for accomplishments. And in an environment where I make money off of YouTube, which is the environment that I find myself in, it makes sense to look at a high amount of likes, views, or anything else in terms of engagement as an accomplishment. I don't know what makes me feel good anymore. Increasingly little, Riley, but you know what? We're going to fix that. We're going to fix that, Riley. I've been thinking, dude, I really like Glitch was talking about it, and I've talked kind of a little bit with Kenny about it, and I want to talk to you about it too. I feel like there could be a DFF exclusive fan fucking inner circle Airbnb that happens at the next meetup. I'm just saying. Me, you, Glitch, Kenny, maybe Desi and Kyle, all with our own rooms. Oh my god. For like 4 days in the Pacific Northwest or whatever. I'll reawaken your spirit for life. Thank you, Matt. 100%. Sounds smelly. Fuck you, Bree. God forbid you interact with me. I will interact with people that don't send a super chat. I'm just telling people that it's luck of the draw if they don't. Well, I'm not saying I'm not going to read your chat if you don't send it in a super chat, but if you're like trying to like desperately to get something read, that is the best way to make sure that that happens. It just is. Sorry. The world is cooked, friends. The end is extremely fucking nigh. I don't know. I feel like me and you, people like us, have been saying that for so goddamn long that I don't know if I can believe us anymore, but I can see why you'd have that impression for sure. Oh, so I can fucking think of a few reasons. Let's just think about it. All right, climate change. The fact that Mississippi just had its worst ice storm, not just Mississippi, but the entire Deep South had its worst ice storm in literally like 100 years. In the last 100 years, there have been two that come close. One of them had higher accumulations over a much smaller area, and one of them was about the same level of accumulation, but still a smaller area, I think. This one was not only a pretty intense amount of accumulation, but also it was spread fucking massively. Phoebe, I want to join your meetup. Well, it's not my meetup. I watch a podcast called Deep Fat Fried, and every so often they do meetups. Biggest winter storm in around 12 years in the South. That's not what my research indicates. There are still over 200,000 people without power, and it's almost 2 weeks later from the time when like most of the precipitation stopped falling for most people. Like we're 2 weeks out from the effective end date of the system, and yet there are still people without power. We had a worse storm in 94. Well, from the research I was doing, it depends on how you look at it. I mean, the in some ways the infrastructure was hit harder in 94 because less of it was equipped. 94 kind of forced the South to upgrade a lot of its infrastructure because of how much got destroyed. And I think, by the way, that this storm is going to have a similar effect, at least if the northern third of my state is to be believed. I don't know, man. If West Tennessee, North Mississippi, Central Arkansas, and East Texas are to be believed, there's going to have to be billions of dollars spent rebuilding. There are hundreds of homes throughout the county I live in that have their roofs caved in, that have vehicles damaged or completely totaled, that have massive infrastructure problems on their property, all because of fallen trees or fallen limbs. Every single one of those represents thousands of dollars worth of damage that's either going to have to be repaired, or hundreds of thousands possibly worth of value that's just going to go away and ebb out of it, do nothing, become nothing, lead to nothing. I think the storms are just going to be more common as well as more powerful. That seems to be the trend. Yeah, 100%. That is the trend, indeed. Aria again. I thought you were mad at me. Glad to see you're in here. Hey, Phoebe, I see your headline. When you say Pretti'S death was murder, was anyone charged with homicide? No, not yet. And I kind of doubt that anyone will be, but we do know the two ICE officers responsible for Alex Pretti'S death. Well, not ICE officers. So one of them was a Customs and Border Protection. I hate these two fucking things. Okay, so one of them was Customs and Border Protection. The other was Border Patrol. Don't ask me why we have two agencies that basically have the exact same name and basically do the exact same thing and wear the same fucking uniforms. I couldn't tell you. I really don't know. But it was two of those, one of each, and their names. You guys are never gonna believe this, right? This is the most ironic shit ever. You're probably thinking their names were like, John Smith, Gregory Isaacs, something like that, right? No. Jesus Ochoa and Raimundo Gutierrez. The two federal agents responsible for killing Alex Pretty were named Jesus Ochoa and Raimundo Gutierrez. It's a couple of fucking Mexicans. I ain't got no problem with Mexicans, don't get me wrong. I just think it's incredibly ironic that the narrative coming out of the right wing for years now has been that that Mexican people are coming in here and stealing our jobs and killing people and all this shit. And now it's like superficially kind of true, but it's at the behest of the organization that they are now defending. So, like, in theory, they're against Mexican people coming north to the United States and killing white people, but in practice, they actually defend it. Do you know Circle Jerk's coup d'etat? No. I have no idea what that means or what you're referencing. Reported for racism, didn't like the way you said Mexican there. Report then, don't tell me about it. I don't need to know. I don't care to know. Kid, my view numbers just start going down. I'll just start a new stream. I get banned off of YouTube, I'll just go to Kick. The thing that actually got him shot was the gunshot or firecracker in the background. No excuse, but had he not been messing around with ICE, he would have never been in that position. He wasn't messing around with ICE. He was legally observing them. You have a right to observe police officers in your fucking county, in your city, wherever. You have the constitutionally protected right to freedom of speech, to freedom of expression, and the right to gather in public and to address the government for a redress of grievances. There are widespread constitutional protections that allow you to do things like filming the cops if you want to. That's all Alex Pretty was doing. The only thing he did that wasn't filming the cops was trying to help a lady who just got pepper sprayed back up to her feet. That's it. And for doing that, for hurting some little small-minded, idiotic, lame assholes' little feelings, for getting in between death. Clips emptied in him. Defend that. VA nurse. Loved universally by his community. Friendly guy, by all accounts. And his life ended with gunshot wounds across his entire body, delivered as he lay straddled on the ground, held down by 6 agents of the federal fucking government. Defend that. You're definitely on a watch list? Yeah, because if you're a sane fucking person in America, you're instantly on a watch list now. If you've got political opinions that are based on reality and scientific consensus and actually good outcomes, you're automatically added to a wish list now. Trump basically signed an executive order a few months ago declaring anybody left of Reagan is now a fucking domestic terrorist. Make sure you guys hit that like button, by the way. If you've been hitting here, if you've been sitting here for this fucking long, you like the stream, and I would just like it if we could all admit it, and you can hit that button so that we can have a better time. Send the stream out to more people. Share it if you can, you know? Dog, you got a fire haircut. I'm sick to death of it. I'm okay. I'm sick to death of the fucking hair comments. We're just gonna hair. Sick to death of it. I don't need to know how ugly or beautiful or whatever my hair is. I flatly do not care. Please ban the word hair. I unironically just did. How many genders are there, pal? As many as human beings can conceivably create. Gender is, after all, a social construct bound only by our imagination. Speaking of science, it was really sad to see Richard Dawkins and Stephen Hawking in the Epstein files. Was it really surprising, though? I mean, Richard Dawkins has always been an elitist, a defender of capital and capitalism. Stephen Hawking, I mean, it's surprising to see him in any way connected to Epstein simply because of his disability, honestly. It's kind of hard for me to imagine someone like Stephen Hawking even enjoying the things that Jeffrey Epstein had to offer, which makes me wonder if indeed Stephen Hawking was involved in any of that. Like, do we know for sure that he was? Because I've long held the position that not every single person that ever touched Epstein was involved and knowledgeable on all the crazy stuff that was happening on the back end. There were tons of people that just went to Jeffrey Epstein because he was a New York City power broker and a financier. You literally said you follow science and say there's a million genders. I'm cool. What now? I'm cool with you wanting that, but you have to establish. Okay, so you are conflating sex and gender right now. There are two sexes and there are intersex people, but you could argue that sex does exist on a spectrum between two binary, right? Or between two ends on a binary. It's two ends of a binary spectrum. That's what I'm trying to fucking say. If I could just spit it out, right? But when it comes to gender, gender is as ambiguous or specific as a given culture and time wants to make it. It simply is. It's entirely in our heads. It's entirely in a matter of how we express ourselves, a matter of how we carry ourselves and think about ourselves. Entirely psychological, entirely sociological. Has nothing to do with anything actually written into our hardline coding. It is not written into your genes. If you're a woman, it is not written, like if you're a cis woman, right? It is not written into your genes for you to like wearing dresses. It is not written into your genes for you to like the color pink. That is not a genetic predisposition to which you are subject. Not written in code to stop at a stop sign either? Yeah, it actually is. No, it actually is. Are you retarded? It's written in law. That's literally like the code in which it's written. As someone who's seen you scrolling through lives, do you actually enjoy debating people? It seems so mind-numbing. Yes, I do. I wouldn't do it if I didn't. It is fun. It's not very fun when there's nobody in here, but when there's actually like a decent amount of people in here and people are having fun with it and we're all going pretty good, I really like doing these and they're really fun and I have a lot of fun with it. So yeah, consider subscribing if you want to watch more of them, because sometimes these can get pretty interesting. By the way, if you've been liking the show so far, please consider hitting that like button. You guys are the lifeblood of the show, and that is the best way that you can help me reach a bigger audience more quickly, is by sticking your hand on that like button and tapping it. Things happen. Send people my way. Share the stream if you can. 100%, 100%. I love to smoke as well. Why am I a smoker? Because it relieves anxiety and depression. I'm not a he, by the way. Train coming. Get ready. All you train fans out there. I know there's so many of you. Man. The pipe's pretty much out of resin at this point too. I'm gonna have to figure something out, I guess. What's the story with the glasses? They're fucked up because I haven't been able to replace them in a long time. So they're just kind of fucked up because I haven't like had consistent visual insurance in a long time. So whatever. I live in a lower cost of living area now, so it's just a matter of like getting the money together and remembering to do it during a given pay cycle when I've still got the money, you know. Slow mode is pain. As painful as it might be, it helps me use this chat more effectively. Plenty of women don't look like Greek goddesses and shit. Who cares? Yeah, literally most women don't, and nobody has any problem. Well, actually, that's not true. People do have a problem with women who don't look like their like perfect little ideal of what they think women should look like, and you can see this kind of pressure. You can see it exercised most strongly against trans women who some people attempt to exclude from femininity and womanhood entirely. But you can also see it applied to ugly women, women that are unconventional looking in some way or another, women who have PCOS, women who have intersex disorders but still identify as women. There are all kinds of people who can be put off and excluded by the definitions and rhetoric of people that try to oppose trans women. May I share something I just tried with YouTube? Yeah, sure, yeah. For sure, why not, yeah. If you've been enjoying the stream, consider sending a super chat or a Cash App donation. You can help me, I'm trying to figure out a way to euphemize this. You can contribute to the Legal Tobacco Fund. Yeah, there you go. I'm not leaving yet. I'm not going anywhere. Turn sub mode off? No. Not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it when people are trying to spam inward towers and stuff like that. No. You can subscribe to talk in here. You can cry me a river and build a bridge and get over it. Get some weed, lol. No, not at all. No, like, fucking, what makes you think that? It doesn't matter how many times I refresh the all-slash homepage. Every refresh features at least one thumbnail of Trump every fucking time. This orange fuck is inescapable. I know, and he likes it that way, the fuck. It's one of the reasons why I kind of hate talking about his ass sometimes, because I feel like Trump really relishes the attention. He really revels in being the center of the news atmosphere. He loves that shit. Honestly, if ever leftist creators decided to stop focusing on Trump entirely and decided to frame every single story that they covered through the lens of Stephen Miller or Susie Wiles or Kristi Noem or one of these people that are adjacent to Donald Trump, they would actually be really effective at like controlling the narrative and the direction of things within the White House, because Trump is very responsive to what he thinks is his drifting popularity. So, like, if people like me and people like Bosch and Hassan, not that I'm putting myself at their level, I'm just saying, like, if people that are on the left making content that is being listened to by politically interested people started framing everything that Trump does through the lens of the shadow president is doing this or Susie Wiles is actually doing this, I think that Trump would get really pissed at these people really fucking quickly. I mean, think about it. You remember back when Elon Musk was constantly getting called the shadow president and everybody couldn't stop talking about how everything that Trump was doing was actually being underlined by Elon Musk, and you remember what a choke chain that motherfucker got? You remember the temper tantrum he threw over the summer as him and Trump's relationship imploded? Pepperidge Farms remembers. Yeah, I'm blind to all other chats. I'm blind. I can't see any chats that's not a super chat. People don't have to think about Trump. They are choosing to. 99% of government-related actions don't affect you, and yet people act like it's life-changing. I would argue the exact opposite. I would argue that every single decision that your government makes affects you in some way. Like, maybe it's not affecting you in the most immediately visible and direct way, but yeah, literally every decision that a given government makes is, you know, it has some kind of effect on your life. It may not be immediate and obvious, but still. Chat moves, you are not the center of the universe, and it is not worth digging up to read. Oh, shit. Yup. 100%. Slap him down. Get him. Get him. Get him in the chat. Hell yeah. I'm not trying to think of Trump nonstop. His face is fucking everywhere. Exactly! Nobody is trying to think of him. I cannot believe that person tried to seriously intimate that people are just choosing to see this fat orange moron on every news screen and every newspaper they walk past. Nobody's choosing to do that except the media. Like, the media are the people who've decided to make his big orange bloated ass the center of attention. He's doing a good job of it, but if it weren't for the media's cooperation, he'd have no effect. There have been plenty of presidents that wanted to make themselves really well known. Ronald Reagan did. But eventually, people realized it's not actually good for old Ronnie if we let him just say whatever he wants, because he's saying crazy shit and he's doing crazy shit. So they ended up allowing him to just rake up leaves out of the pool. Ronald Reagan basically went from being our president to being the White House groundskeeper towards the end of his presidency. And yet, the media acts like it's got no choice but to report on every little fart that comes out of Trump's poopy diaper. You look like lesbian Oliver Tree. Thank you. I appreciate that. Why are you getting women sacked if they don't want you in their changing rooms? What are you talking about? I'm not doing shit. I don't know what you think. Like, I don't know what kind of power you think I have, but I've never gotten anyone fired for anything because I don't have that kind of power. I just don't. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking? I am 27. Thoughts on Catholicism? Really, really interesting sect of Christianity. Definitely owns the claim to being the oldest sect of Christianity. I don't personally believe in a Catholic worldview. I'm not a Christian, much less a Catholic, but I do think you guys are interesting. Not a big fan of your policy towards pedophile priests, but I don't hold individual Catholics responsible for that policy. I'm not avoiding you tonight, Pink Fur. I just haven't seen any of your comments. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to avoid you on purpose. Why are kids being removed from nursery because trans teachers are offended the kids don't accept their sexuality? I don't think that that's happening. I flatly do not believe that's happening. There might be kids that get moved from a teacher's class because they just hate the fucking teacher, but that happens all the time, not just to trans people. Like, there are kids who are raised to be racist, who are just not going to get along with a black teacher and eventually have to be moved out of that teacher's classroom. There are kids who just take a fucking hatred towards one of their teachers every so often, or, like sometimes you just get two incompatible personalities in a classroom, and that has to happen, whether people are trans or not. So I'm not sure exactly what your argument is there. I mean, Reddit threads you moderate. I got banned off of the only community on Reddit I had any interest in actually engaging with on a regular basis, so I pretty much don't use the app anymore. I don't think Catholicism was the first. Well, no. The first Christian movement was a loosely affiliated cult of people that knew Jesus and their descendants. But what Christianity became when it became organized is Catholicism. Like, Christianity in its first and earliest organized form is Catholicism. I'm sorry you got banned? I didn't get banned. 16 April 2025. Okay. If you're going to have to provide me with some verisimilitude in the form of, like, what newspaper was it that ran this? What steps did they take to verify the fucking truth of this claim? Because you realize the media will literally just say any goddamn thing anymore, right? Like, one little fucking news report on one obscure website's not enough. You better be able to come at me with some BBC or something like that, okay? Because if you've got the, BBC or fucking Channel 4 or something on it, all right, maybe we're talking. But if it's like, well, there's this one obscure fringe alt-right newspaper from the Sudetenland, and that, like, I'm sorry, no, that's not going to be good enough. The Telegraph UK. I'm not sure what exactly. I'm not sure the degree to which the Telegraph practices like really responsible journalism practices. I'm assuming if you're quoting them and referencing them, they're somewhat reliable. Maybe, I don't know. I'm from the UK, bud. No offense, but BBC isn't the best source. I'm not saying they're the best source in the world. I'm just saying, like, there's a little fucking shred of verisimilitude to the BBC that I probably wouldn't give to one of these tabloids. Like, I don't know. Is the Telegraph one of those tabloid papers? Because I feel like the Telegraph is a tabloid. Yeah, that's the problem I have, Three Turtle. There's always more to this story than we're hearing, and we're probably not going to get the details of that if I'm right. What will you do for a 6-7? Huh? British publication, I believe, very right-wing conservative. So the Daily Mail is right-wing, Telegraph left-wing, and they're both tabloids? Okay. So I feel like I am not 100% convinced by that distinction, because I feel like it would be a right-wing tabloid publishing a story about, like, a toddler getting kicked out of their preschool. Whatever, dude. Maybe it happened in one isolated case somewhere. Does that demonstrate that we have to throw the whole thing out? You realize guns have been used to shoot people. Should we just get rid of all guns? Like, now that we've gotten to the core of your argument, which is that this one time in some obscure village in England somewhere, some kid was kicked out of their preschool for being a fucking asshole to their trans teacher. And obviously they're just a kid and shouldn't be held directly responsible for the things they have to say and punished as if their opinions actually reflect weight, right? I get it. But your response to that seems to be therefore we need to ban trans people or get rid of trans rights or something like that, when my response is, damn, people should really not be so cynical with like the way they treat interactions with other human beings and shit. I wish people weren't like that. The heart, thank you for the heart. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Anybody else wants to send a super chat or a Cash App donation, that is the best way to get your message answered or read. And this is a viewer-supported channel, so if you enjoy the content, that is the best way to make sure you keep seeing more of it. By the way, we have hit our likes goal, so thank you guys so much. Thank you for the 6-7 DB4L. I appreciate it. 6-7. But yeah, no, we have 6-7 viewers right now. Look at that. 6-7. Nice. Cool. 6-7. 6-7. Ooh, it's fun. I like it. 6-7. 6-7, bro. Phoebe, please, you're killing me. Am I posting boomer cringe? I'm probably about 10 years too old to be saying that, huh? It's like when your grandma learns how to say the word cool and use it in context. Unfortunately, I don't have money to give, but I did like to scream and subscribe. I also go back to 2025 where you came from. Nice. Please go back to 2025 where you came from. What do you mean? Go back to 2025. What do you've been nice, Three Turtle. Why are you being mean now? I'm so confused. I was eating at a quiet restaurant the other day, and these middle schoolers we were supposed to leave 6-7 in 2025. Oh, well, I didn't get the memo. When I was eating at a quiet restaurant the other day, and these middle schoolers barged in screaming 67. See? Riley just confirms we ain't done with 6-7. 6-7 still got a little meme on that bone. Yeah, I'm trans. It would be pretty weird if I've got like a toxic view of trans rights, considering that I'm a trans woman. That would be pretty weird. I sure do wish someone would hit my Cash App up, because then tomorrow I would. Damn it. I need a drink. I'm going to end up having to go inside or something to get a drink. Maybe I can make it. Maybe I can deal with it. It'll be fine. I got a little bit of water. Not very much, but we're also not going to be on here that much longer. Pay Phoebe now. Yes, pay me now. No, but seriously, I want to get me one of those pre-rolls tomorrow. And you could finance that, dog. Dog. Never understood the 67 joke. It's from a rapper, but yeah, I don't get it either, but it's funny. So many people nowadays lack any observational and thinking skills. They just want to be told what they think instead of coming to their own conclusions. Well, I agree with you there, Xanathia. 100%. People are, for the most part, not altogether too interested in being a person who thinks and sits around thinking a lot. It's kind of considered a little weak and a little strange to be that kind of person now. So a lot of people just want to know, what should my opinion be? Phoebe only wants cash, ass, or grass. This is a fact. This actually is a fact. Yeah, I'm a hippie, you know? And in my world, these 3 words we understand clearly, with perfect clarity. Cash, grass, and ass. I want other people to tell me how to think. Well, if you know that, you've got enough agency to be self-determinative in that way, and it's kind of okay. A lot of people think they're free spirited though, but they're actually like under strict control by a number of systems, some of which they've got some control over, and some of which they've got no control over whatsoever. I want Phoebe to tell me what she thinks and read my question. Um, Let me see here. What did you say? What do you think is the bigger issue? That there is a global cabal of pedos, or that possibly Israel used that blackmail to wage genocide? Oh God, I don't know, dude. Which one's the worst turd sandwich? Dog turd or ostrich turd? I don't know, man. The dog turd's drier, but it's way stinkier. Ugh, gross, man. I don't know. I'm just disgusted by this proposition you fed me that one of them is indeed like I feel like this is the language of the moral relativist, right? That you want to have two positions, right? Not you personally, Matt, but people like the idea of a question like that implies that one is worse or better, really is the problem. It implies that one is better than the other. And it's like it's horrible to wage genocide no matter what reason you do it for, but it's extra horrible to do it. So I guess ultimately the genocide is ultimately the harder thing because, right, like if there was just like some global cabal of pedos working together to do horrible shit, that would be fucked up on its own. That'd be a really nightmarish and profoundly evil um, outcome of our system, but it would also be distributed in its effects. It wouldn't be something that people see on a mass scale the way they have with the genocide in Gaza. It wouldn't involve the sudden and random deaths of hundreds of thousands of people across the Gaza Strip. No, it's a shit sandwich no matter what you're eating shit, and I'm just not particularly turned on by shit sandwiches. They just don't they're not my idea of a good time. Call me crazy. I guarantee you that person that just got banned out of chat watches more transgender porn than any of their neighbors. Motherfucker spends all goddamn day watching women with dicks plow cis women. The Gooner, dude, 100%. Now put into Danny if you have on what's going on in Iran. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I think that the government has once again successfully squashed protests. People that don't know Iran's history are always surprised by this, and they always make stupid predictions about it, like, oh, something's going to fundamentally change. That's why I didn't talk about it much, because once I saw, right, that, like, here's where I'm thinking about Iran. I think there will still be a strike. I do think that the U.S. is still going to end up striking Iran. Maybe I'm wrong, but there are certainly military resources being positioned in a way that would suggest an imminent attack. Um, what else was I going to say? Fuck, I forgot. Oh, yeah. As far as the protests go, a lot of people are surprised when they see things like this happen in Iran. They really think everything's going to change overnight or that the government's going to listen to some of their grievances and implement some of them. And every so often it does. But for the most part, from what I can tell, protests in the like protests in the Iranian sphere of influence, as near as I can tell, are mainly a pressure relief valve. But maybe that's all a protest in America is too. I don't know. We need to denuclearize. I 100% agree. I'm hop off. It's 2:30 a.m. over here. I need some sleep. Hope the rest of the stream goes well. I do too. I'm going to be getting off here soon as well. Well, others can ask, but whenever I ask about what your views are, like 100 fucking people say, what do you think? Bro, you took it a little personally, I think. Nobody was talking shit. We just think it's kind of fucking ironic a little bit. I get that a trans person can be anti-trans or can be a trans medicalist or whatever, but it's just kind of ironic to ask a trans woman of all things if she's okay with trans people. You know, it's just a little ironic. That's all. I don't know. Cheers. Yeah, 100%. Oh shit, dude. I love people in chat. People in chat fighting with each other. Fighting in a feud. Oh, tired. Sleepy Phoebe. Sleepy Phoebe. Nicocentrism. That's funny. Nicocentrism, dude. Nicocentrism is crazy. How am I supposed to tell you're trans? I don't know. Maybe the red flag behind me and the bangs and the fact that I've got like a kind of deep voice for a woman, you know? There's like some indicators, maybe. I don't know. It's not exactly a state secret. Shrek to the noose. Just for people that say that nobody wants to kill you, bro. Stop saying that stupid shit. Stop being so dramatic. Nobody wants to kill you. Every single time you hear a right wing grifter say some shit like that, just know they are running cover for a phenomenon that they acknowledge and know happens in private. They just don't want to acknowledge it in public because it's untenable to do so. Can't imagine why. Thanks for the nightly streams all the time. Everyone I know wisely moved out of my state. At least I got pals across the nation. Oh, yeah, you do. You got me, Riley. That's honestly motivating in a way. I really like it when I hear people talking about how this is kind of a chill space for them, a place that's kind of like Post has said that a few times, like they just really like hanging out in here. It's like a grounding thing or whatever. It's like I can't imagine how many of these people's routine I'm a part of now, and I appreciate you guys the most because you guys are what convinces YouTube to keep sending new people to my ass. And regardless of what you guys' financial situation is, you are able to help me out immensely just by watching, just by regular attendance to my streams. So I appreciate y'all. Love you and got your back, and this place is home. Aw, you see that? Look at this. Look at this outpouring of kindness. Definitely a grounding thing. See? If my computer was working, I'd be throwing so many hands in this chat of all the bad faith folks. Aw, that's all right. You've been doing your best. You've been throwing some haymakers at them. I think for now I'm going to go ahead and get off here. I'm getting pretty cold already. I don't know exactly how much more steam the stream has left in it, but I do appreciate you guys a ton. If you've enjoyed and you've got a little money to spare, consider donating, especially through Cash App, because I can use that instantly. But you can also leave a super thanks on the comment section of these streams or my other videos. Check out my other videos, by the way. That is a great way that you can help the channel out as well, just by adding view hours and views to those videos. And yeah, I will see you guys around some other time. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Check your Cash App. Oh, aw, thank you. $2. You know what? That's something. I fucking appreciate it. I will take it. Thank you. That is very kind. If I get a couple more bucks, I can get one of those pre-rolls. Hell yeah. I will see you guys around, though. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you, Autumn. Thank you to people who donated. And I will see you guys around later.